Welcome. This video is all about people pleasing. It's something that so many of us do, and we actually know that we're doing it, but we still do it. And when I say people pleasing, this isn't about saying that, don't make people happy. I want everybody to make each other happy, but I don't want you to do it at the detriment of yourself. I want you to value yourself. I want you to value your time and your feelings and put yourself first. That's not selfish, and you're not a bitch for doing, for saying no to people. This is about valuing who you are. People pleasing often comes from some insecurity, from a lack of self-esteem. And the trouble with people pleasing is that when we do it, when we say yes when it should be a no, we become resentful of the situation, and actually that leads to more insecurity and a greater lack of self-esteem. So we need to change this around. And we find it hard to do because we're brought up to put other people first. We're told off if we make other people sad, or we upset other people. We are built to please others, and yes, I want us to do it, but I don't want it to be as a negative for you. I want you to please others because it pleases you, not because you feel compelled to do it. Okay, so there are 10 ways to identify if you're a people pleaser. 1, you say yes to events that you don't want to go to. You feel responsible for other people's emotions. Is it that you, feel that you've got to make other people happy? Do they put the responsibility onto you to make them happy? This can happen when you're a mum, particularly. You feel responsible for your kids' happiness, and you can't be responsible for them. You can influence their happiness, but you can't be responsible for it. You say sorry for even the smallest of things. Sorry when you're not actually sorry, but you just want to say sorry because it makes it better. You hate it when people get angry at you. Well, no one enjoys it, but you actively avoid the situation. Number 5 is you help others even if you don't have time. You drop everything to help others, and that's lovely, but actually it causes so many problems in the long term. Number 6, you laugh with others when maybe you don't get the joke or you didn't find it funny. You pretend you're interested even when you're not. You say yes to things that later you regret. You agree with others and you don't actually have your own opinion on the subject. That's a big one. And maybe you simply just don't like saying no. But I want you to be able to say no without feeling like you're a horrible person, because you're not. The whole point of the fact that you are a people pleaser is because you are such a beautiful person. So you can say no without being a bitch. And I want you to say no without feeling like you're a bitch. Okay? So it's not about being selfish. It's not about putting yourself first, and that's wrong. This is about having boundaries that support you, that are good for you, that take care of you. So I want to give you a couple of examples here, because I want to show you people pleasing from the other side, not from your side. So for me, I've got a people pleaser in my life, and I have immense frustration with this person, because she agrees to things, that I never know whether she truly wants to do or not. And quite often what comes back at me is, after the fact, she gets annoyed at me because she had to do it and she didn't want to. But I asked her, I didn't force her. She did it of her own accord, and then got annoyed at me because she had to do it. And she tries to second guess what I want, but she's not a psychic. She's not adept at reading my mind, and quite often she gets it wrong. And that means when I'm not as happy as she thinks I should be, I'm wrong. And she gets annoyed at me for that. And it's like, I honestly don't know where I stand with her, because I don't know what her truth is. So she'll agree to things and she'll back out of them, or she does them and then resents me for them. Or she'll do them and then it's like trying to drag her along, and why have you, she's just not got the enthusiasm, and she's like, but I don't want to do it, but you said you wanted to do it. And she then goes, but I did it because you wanted to do it. And I'm like, no, I didn't say I wanted to do it, you said you wanted to do it, so that's why we're doing it. And it's like, ah! So it gets, it gets worse when I ask her, what she wants, and what she'd like to do, because she won't make that decision. So it's left to me to make that decision, which when you're constantly making the decisions, it's hard work and it gets frustrating because you don't know the decision, as a result of that decision, you don't know whether you're going to get resentment and frustration thrown back at you. So she feels, I know where she's coming from. She's trying to make me happy. She wants to just make me happy. And, I love her for that, but and she thinks she's doing the right thing in putting me first, but actually what she's doing is just not acting her truth, and she's causing me more frustration, and then we end up banging against each other as a result. So it doesn't work for either of us. So from someone who has a people pleaser, an ultimate people pleaser in her life, and I'm begging you, please don't do it. On the other side of the coin, my aunt, which is probably why I loved her so much, had really strong boundaries in place. She wasn't a people pleaser, but that makes her sound as if she was a bitch, and she was far from it. She really wasn't. And I think the reason I loved being in her company was because I knew where I stand. I kind of felt secure in knowing that when she said no, it meant no. So, we've got dogs, and she used to look after our dogs, and I'd ring her up and say, can you look after the dogs this weekend? And she'd go, I can't. And I'd go, okay, that's fine. And because she said no, I knew that I could ask her. I wasn't putting her out. I knew exactly where I stood with her. So I could ask her and she'd say yes. And I would feel comfortable with that because I knew she wouldn't say yes unless she could, and it was okay for her. So, and again, I had to call her when we were on our way because she liked to know when people are arriving. She lived in a certain area that, she had to open the gate for us and things like that. So it was about mutual respect here. I respected her enough to tell her that I was on my way so that she could plan what she was doing. I knew where I stood. So it gave me, as the outside person, the security, the knowledge that I knew. And I knew that I could ask her stuff and know that when she said yes, that it would happen, that she wouldn't back out of it, that things wouldn't change. I knew that that was agreed. That decision was there and I could work to that. Now, if you think about it from a client's perspective, when you set a boundary and you start to, you pull out or you don't do it, you don't show up, you're a bit not sure because you're trying to people please and you said yes, but then you regret it and it's like, client doesn't know where they stand, and that feels a bit icky to the client. Whereas when you have boundaries and you say no, and the next time they ask you say yes, they feel confident that you're going to do it. It comes with time, that confidence, but it does help someone that on the outside, people pleasing doesn't people please is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, where there's a lack of clarity, it makes things hard. So, and again, my aunt, she had boundaries that I didn't always agree with, but I respected because they were her boundaries. And I knew it wasn't worth trying to push on them because that's what she lived to. And I respected her for that, even if I didn't like the boundary. And she wasn't a bitch. She was far from a bitch. She was one of the most generous, loving, caring people in the entire world. When she left this world, the world lost a real shining light, really did. So I wanted to give you, sorry, getting emotional there. I wanted to give you the other person's perspective on people pleasing, because I wanted you to realize that actually people pleasing doesn't people please. So if you're someone that is always trying to make other people happy, I want you to stop. I want you to go to yourself and create those boundaries that enables you to say no, so that you you don't agree to something you don't want to, that you don't enjoy, that doesn't make you happy, because actually happiness is infectious. So if you agree to something you don't want to do, what the energy is that you give out is resentful or unhappy or whatever. It's a negative energy. You get that back. So you need to give out a positive energy. And when you say yes, it needs to be in abundance. It needs to be in positivity, because then you will receive good back. And again, you know, when you say no, it needs to be in abundance. No, because this isn't, you know, I value myself. No, I'm not giving a discount because I value myself. No, I'm not going to see you or do an order in the next hour because I value my time with my kids. All of that sort of stuff, you know, that's a really important thing. And when clients know this, they know where they stand. They feel an element of security as well. You know, it's about saying yes and meaning it, and then you stick by it. You're not trying to pull out of it. And I know that this is a limiting belief, you know, that we have to please other people, that, you know, we have to do these things, and that we're a bitch if we don't. But you're not. I'm telling you, you're not, because I know you're an amazing person, and you couldn't possibly be a bitch if you wanted to. By saying no does not change your personality, okay? It defines who you are and what you get from what you do. It defines your energy, but it doesn't make you something you're not. So, you know, for me, setting boundaries is about an extension of my morals. You know, if someone told me to wear a fur coat, I would say no, because I don't believe in the fur trade. So why would I say yes to doing something for someone else when it meant that, you know, I would be unhappy about doing it? So think about, you know, the happiness. Think about it as an extension of your morals. People pleasing is not a good thing. It's not. So stop taking responsibility for other people's happiness and start taking responsibility for your own happiness, because it's only your own happiness that you can change. Right? You can influence others, but it's only yourself that you can actually impact. If you want a recommendation of a great book here, The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a by Sarah Knight. Brilliant dissection of this concept. Could be better edited for the English market. If you're American, I'm sure it reads brilliantly, but there's a few things that just don't work when they try and translate it into, you know, for the British market. But that's saying that, the concept of it is really, really good. So, you know, it does change things when you put those boundaries in place. So have a think about that. Have a read of the book. Stop people pleasing. Put yourself first. If you need to dig down into what is creating that people-pleasing limiting belief, then reach out to me, okay? And we can certainly find a way, and we can use EFT to overcome it. Okay. Bye-bye.